JJ the CPA here. Hope you're doing well. This is a special video. I'll tell you about that at the end. Might be a little noisy, but you'll understand at the end. But here's the deal in this video that I really want to drive home to you is that the PPP is going to be forgiven even if you hand in your forgiveness application after the 10-month period following your covered period. What does this mean? I don't want to go so far as to say that banks are lying, even though I'm upset with a number of banks that I feel are being misleading to their customers. But the banks, and it's also being reported by the media, that if you do not hand in your PPP forgiveness application within 10 months following your covered period, you will not get your PPP loan forgiven. And that is a complete falsehood. I would almost go as far to say is that's a lie. I don't want to call the people liars, but I'd come real close to that because it's fairly insulting to me that when I have a client come to me and they say, well, my banker said that I need to get my application in within the 10 months following my covered period, or I will not get it forgiven. I find that infuriating because it's creating fear, it's creating anxiety for no reason. And I'm going to tell you why the banks are doing that in a minute, but here's what I want you to know is that I'm basing this in fact. It's not an opinion. And where do my facts come from? Well, if you've watched my other couple of videos on this board right here may not be new to you, but I'm not, in truthfulness, getting a ton of views on these videos related to this. So the video isn't to just get more views, it's to get the word out about this falsehood. So I'll jump right here to the bottom, and I'm going to put a link in the body of this video that you can go to. But this 13 CFR 120 is directly a Federal Register rule for the U.S. Treasury and the SBA, which dictates this part of what we're talking about. So it's not a bank that dictates it. It is the federal government, and this has been documented here. Also, if you look into the PPP FAQs that are put out by the SBA in number 49, which I'm giving you a link, this what backs this up. And if you just know how to read English, if you just simply know how to read, what you're going to read is this directly on the SBA's website that talks about PPP forgiveness is simply this, as I've got laid out here. You have 10 months after the covered period to put in your PPP forgiveness application. And if you don't, then you have to start making payments on your PPP loan. That does not mean that the loan is not going to be forgiven. What is also clearly stated in the exact same paragraph. So when you read and you're reading English, and by the way, the SBA, with all due respect, when you scroll down to the bottom of any page on the SBA website, any language, pick it, they have these rules on there. So if there's a bank out there that doesn't know how to read English, they should pick the language that they know how to read and interpret what this is. Because in the same paragraph that says payments begin 10 months after your covered period, it also says very clearly that the borrower has until the maturity of the loan to put in for the PPP forgiveness in the application and achieve forgiveness. And even if you were to say, well, it just says it on the website, I don't know if that's good enough for me. Well, what's on the website comes directly from this 13 CFR 120. And when I'm quoting something like this, many would say that's being a code head, which means like, oh, well, you're quoting code to me. Yeah, because I want you to go to this. So if you don't believe me, your bank doesn't believe me, if you're a bank watching this, okay, with all due respect, if you don't believe me, I don't care. What I want you to do is go and read this because it's going to specifically tell you this. You can file for forgiveness up until the maturity date of the PPP loan and achieve full forgiveness. It says that in black and white right there. So for those that are in the media, please stop reporting this. You're creating anxiety, you're creating fear that is unwarranted, and it really makes me angry because there's a falsehood to this. So Right here, file for forgiveness now. Well, yes, if you got PPP in 2020. No, if you got PPP in 2021. Why? Well, watch my other videos where I specifically talk about why you need to wait to file for forgiveness for PPP if you got it in 2021. Just hold your horses on it. But yes, you want to file for 2020. How long are payments deferred? Payments are deferred from the date of disbursement plus 24 weeks plus 10 months. So the earliest somebody could have got a PPP loan was April 3rd of 2020, which is the day that PPP opened. So technically no one probably got money that day, but that would be the earliest. So what's 24 weeks from there? Well, it turns out to be that it is September 18th of 2020. That's the covered period plus 10 months. So on July 18th of this year would be for the person that got PPP on this date. This would simply be when the bank goes, well, you haven't put in your PPP forgiveness application, so now you need to start making payments. That does not mean now your loan's not forgiven. And also, in this right here, the SBA and the U.S. Treasury, their rule is that whenever the application for forgiveness is put in, anything that was paid will be paid back to the borrower up until the maturity date. So the next thing is, when must a borrower submit the PPP forgiveness application? Anytime on or before after the PPP loan maturity. Tell Amanda, quiet on the set. When must borrowers submit the PPP loan forgiveness application? Anytime on or before the PPP loan maturity. You don't have to. So the PPP loan maturity, okay, is defined by FAQ number 49. And what does the FAQ of 49 from the SBA says? The maturity is any time up until when the loan is completely due. Well, you even look up in the Webster's dictionary, what does maturity mean? You look at number 49, what does maturity mean? Number 49 makes it clear that if you got the PPP before June 5th, so you got it June 4th or before, then your maturity is 2 years after the 24 weeks and 10 months. If you got it on or after June 5th, your maturity is 5 years. Am I telling you that you should wait? Let's not be ridiculous, okay? I'm not telling you to wait 2 years to put in your forgiveness application, okay? We're not talking dodo land here. But when a bank is telling you and pressuring you that you need to put in your forgiveness application, okay, get it done. The reason I want to do another video on this is help me spread the word. Correct your bank when they send you the email, which I've seen 3 of them. Maybe you don't email them back and tell them liar, liar, pants on fire, but maybe what you can tell them is, why don't you watch this video and look at the links inside the video? Because what you're telling me is that it's not going to be paid back to, or not going to be forgiven, and it's false. It's incorrect. Same thing with the media. So should you go ahead and put your forgiveness application in now? Yes, if you got it in 2020, there's no reason to wait. But there's also no reason for you to be in a position of panic. Now, I did tell you, why are the banks doing this? And with the relationship that I have with the banks that I'm working with, here is why. From the inside, it's not necessarily a secret, but no one talks about it. The reason why the banks are wanting you to put in your PPP forgiveness application is they do not get reimbursed from the SBA until the forgiveness application is submitted and then the loan is forgiven. So once the loan has been forgiven, the SBA gives the bank their money back. Maybe you didn't know that. The banks use their own money to front, if you will, the PPP loan. So they pulled the money from their reserves to give it to you. When the forgiveness application is submitted and it's accepted, that's when then the SBA is going to reimburse the bank. And the bank does not receive their 5% fee, which is what their fee was in PPP 1 in 2020. They don't receive their fee until. So I will defend the banks a little bit to go, well, I understand. That makes sense. You want to get this over with. You want to get your money back. You want to get your fee. But don't do it in a deceitful way. And you should be offended by that if you're a bank that is telling people that the loan will not be forgiven if it is not filed within 10 months following the covered period. Shame on you. You just need to then call and have a relationship with your client and simply tell them, hey, listen, we're trying to get reimbursed. We want to get our fee. We'd like for you to get the PPP forgiveness application in. What is it that we can do? And the reason I say have a good working relationship with your bank is that is exactly what the banker that I have the most clients with that got PPP with that bank, that's exactly what they just told the client is, hey, listen, as a bank, we fronted this. The application can be filed. We're waiting to also get our fee. So we did the work. We got you these funds. We helped you stay afloat. So the media is sensationalizing this for those that are reporting on it. And the banks are, in essence, in my opinion, misleading. So I want you to go and look at the SBA website on the forgiveness page, and you're going to read this in one simple paragraph. You still don't understand that or believe it, then I want you to go to the link that I'm giving you here, and I want you to go to the link that I'm putting here. Because in my videos, as I've told you every time, for those that tune in often, is I'm not providing my opinion. I didn't read this. So there's a number of people that are putting information maybe on YouTube, and they just read it in an article. So they're giving it to you really secondhand, because there are videos out there that they're saying this same crapola, which is, well, if you don't put your application in within 10 months of your covered period, you're not going to get your loan forgiven. And so I will apologize that if you think the thumbnail of this was clickbait, hell yeah, it was clickbait. From the standpoint of competing with these other people on YouTube that are telling you falsehoods, or in the media that are telling you falsehoods. So I want my video to be alongside these other videos so that you will hear the truth and you will know what it is. And everything that we just talked about also applies to PPP 2.0. So if you got PPP in 2021, all these same rules still apply. I will say it one more time. I'm not advocating that you wait up until the maturity date. I'm not advocating that you wait 24 weeks plus 10 months and then right before your 2 years, you put in a PPP forgiveness application. Those of you that think that I'm doing that, then you're being silly. All right, hey, listen, so there was a little noise in the background. You heard me mention something over to the crowd over here, but we have had a group come in to visit with Amanda and I that are part of my Group 51. We had Coach Pit Barbecue that drove all the way from California. We've had people from Virginia and Florida and Texas and Kansas and California, Reno, I'm probably missing an area, Chicago. So anyways, I'm done giving you the information, but here's what you want to do. I'm going to pick up this and we're going to say hi to the group. We went live earlier, but you may have not caught it. So this is a group that was able to listen in. They thought it would be fun, or at least I thought it might be fun for them to see a video in the making. So for those of you that are on, we've got Tony D.
Hello, everybody.
We've got Coach's Pit Barbecue.
Yeah.
We've got Automotive.
Yeah.
Modern Automotive. Brian, remind me of your name on
1016 Designs. Here we go.
1016 Designs on YouTube, because many of us, we know CSR, or we know With Flying Colors, or we know Rob, or we know Imagine That Toys. So you're putting some faces to the names for many of you that were on the live. So real quick, who else have we got here? Of course, we have Amanda, right? We have Amanda, and we have Natalie, and we have Kathy, and we have Robert of Philadelphia Salons, and Robert of Philadelphia Salons. Many see the comments and on the lives. All of you were on many of the lives. We did have some more people that were here today. This is a group that I put together at the beginning of the year. I opened it up. Once we got to 50, I closed it. And so I'm visiting with this group each month, giving them information similar to what I'm providing to my clients that I'm not putting on YouTube. So I invited everybody to join me in Oklahoma City for a live all-day seminar. And now we're at the house, and we got to enjoy some Coach's Pit Barbecue. Yeah. And we're getting ready to head out to the pool and enjoy. And yeah, exactly. Exactly. I promised everybody we would not do anything on video until we were done with this. All right, hey, thanks for tuning in. I'd love it if you subscribe, and then don't you ever forget, you've never been a CPA quite like me. I love it. Thank you. All right, you have a great one.